Good evening, Tanse, and welcome to APTN National News. I'm Daryl Stranger. We have some breaking news. The Saskatoon Police Service reports that Dawn Walker and her son Vincent Jansen were found safe in Oregon City, Oregon this morning. Walker and her son hadn't been seen since Friday, July 22nd. Walker was supposed to be part of the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations delegation to see the Pope in Musqueam, Alberta that week, but didn't show up. Her truck and some personal belongings were found in a park south of Saskatoon. Saskatoon police say multiple Canadian and American law enforcement agencies were involved in the search for Walker when she and her son were found to have illegally entered into the United States. A news release says authorities are now working out details to return Vincent Jansen to a legal guardian. U.S. authorities are also looking at potential action as a result of illegal entry into the United States, and pending any action, Walker will be returned to Saskatoon where she will meet with investigators. We'll have more on this story as it develops. The family of Andrew Jansen, the boy's father, says they are not speaking at this time. And we have more breaking news as well from Winnipeg. Grand Chief Arlen Dumas is out as head of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. The word came down just moments ago after a special assembly to hold a vote of non-confidence. The vote was 30-13. Dumas was facing a workplace investigation into sexual misconduct allegations. We will have full details for you on Monday, or you can check out online at aptnnews.ca. And with Pope Francis's visit in the rearview mirror, APTN sat down with Truth and Reconciliation Commissioner Grand Chief Wilton Littlechild for his thoughts on the visit and his reaction to those who were upset that he gifted the Pope a headdress. APTN's Chris Stewart has the story.
It was Grand Chief Wilton Littlechild's TRC call to action number 58, which stated the Pope should apologize in Canada to residential school survivors and their families. That led to Pope Francis coming on this trip. The Truth and Reconciliation Commissioner was in his home of Musqueam, Alberta, to welcome Pope Francis 7 years after the TRC finished its report. In his first Canadian stop, the Pope apologized for the harms caused by the Catholic Church. Now, with some time to talk to survivors, Chief Littlechild says that many have accepted the apology, and he understands those who don't.
The elderly people, former students, are quite open and have accepted the apology. But the younger people say that's not good enough. We want more. We want action. Not just words, action. What's going to happen now? So there's that. It's not a division. I think it's a good combination. A willingness to forgive, a willingness to accept an apology, but knowing full well that for many that's not good enough.
His gifting of his grandfather's headdress to Pope Francis was controversial to many. Littlechild says the idea was not his own, and proper protocols were followed, including a sweat lodge.
When the committee asked, what should we give him as a gift? There was 3 committees, a national committee, a provincial committee, and a local committee. And he did get a name in Rome. And one of the elders suggested we should give him a headdress. So I said, I have one.
One of the Musqueam elders?
Yeah.
Littlechild thinks some people took it too far with comments on social media for gifting the headdress.
That created, apparently, I'm not on social media, but apparently a lot of people are angry at me for doing that. But I don't tell them, where were you when the Prime Minister got a headdress? Where were you when the president of a company got a headdress? Where were you when others got headdresses? Why this one? So it was a personal gesture of reconciliation, and I feel good about it.
APTN asked what happens next.
Where are we going to go? On a path of reconciliation together.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Maskwacis, Alberta.
It's been years in the making. A new commemorative monument honoring residential school survivors is underway in Winnipeg. It will be built next to a former school located in the heart of the city. APTN's Tamara Pimentel has this story.
During a groundbreaking ceremony, Elder Betty Ross mixes tobacco into the soil that will soon become a monument for residential school survivors in Winnipeg. Next to the site is the former Assiniboia Residential School, where Ross graduated in 1968.
And I was lost after that because I didn't know who I was. They didn't teach me anything at all, just the straps, the abuse, the trauma.
The Assiniboia Residential School commemorative monument and gathering place will offer a space to heal, reflect, and educate the public. All three levels of government are supporting the creation of the project alongside the Assiniboia Residential School Legacy Group. It will include bricks with the engraving of students' names. It was a vision of former student, late Ted Fontaine, who passed away in 2021. APTN News met Fontaine during a school reunion in 2017.
Show Canada that we're here. The basic identity of Canada is right here. First Nations of our country. Our language is still here. They didn't kill us off.
He wanted to ensure the residential school system, particularly this one, wasn't forgotten. For intergenerational survivor Tony Kipling, the monument stands for all generations.
I didn't grow up knowing what residential school was. I only lived in the aftermath of what happened. This site marks our past, present, and future in the sense that it helps us to remember and honor those little warriors who survived, some who didn't come home. Our present to acknowledge now we're making these changes. We're going to be listening, we're working together, and for our future, igniting that fire.
And for Ross, it's a symbol of resilience.
Finally, I found my voice in a good way. Finally, I found Betty. I found out where I came from and why I'm here and where I'm going.
The monument is expected to be completed in time for the second National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in September. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
All right, it's time for a short break. Still ahead, a proposed mining project in southeast Yukon is not sitting well with the Kaska Nation. Welcome back. Wildfires continue to burn in British Columbia. So far, the numbers are not nearly as bad as last year, but in recent weeks, multiple First Nations faced evacuation orders. APTN's Lee Wilson has more.
According to the BC Wildfire Service, 92 fires are burning throughout the province as of yesterday. 67 were caused by lightning strikes, 7 were human causes, and the rest are undetermined. So far, there have been 528 wildfires, which is nearly 60% less than at the same date last year. In recent weeks, evacuation orders were issued for Lytton First Nation and Lower Similkameen Band. Lytton lifted their order last week, while Similkameen Band leadership told APTN News they believe their community is in the clear from their recent order. Penticton Indian Band Council still has an active alert due to the Karamias wildfire burning nearby. It is now 42 square kilometers in size. Today, wildfire crews there are doing planned ignitions to try bring the fire under control. Lee Wilson, APTN National News, Kitimat.
A proposed mining project in southeast Yukon is not sitting well with the Kaska Nation. Among their concerns, a new mine will have serious impacts on caribou. Despite their objections, the Yukon and federal governments have advanced the mine to the next stage. That has the Kaska Nation taking legal action. Here's Sarah Connors with that story.
The Faro mine, which was a lead-zinc mine, was opened in 1969 and abandoned in 1998. Now, the federal government will have to pay an expected $2 billion to clean up the site. For decades, the Kaska people in Yukon have been living with the mine's mess.
Our rights have been impacted by those historic mining practices and the mining legacy left behind in our traditional territory.
Ross River Denna Council Chief Dylan Loblaw doesn't want to see a repeat of history. It's one reason why his First Nation is seeking a judicial review of BMC Minerals Kutsikaya mining project on behalf of the Kaska Nation.
We felt that the decision didn't consider the Kaska's position on permitting the mine to go ahead.
The copper, lead, and zinc project is 115 kilometers south of the community of Ross River. For years, the Kaska have raised concerns about the potential social and environmental impacts of the mine, especially the effect it will have on the Fennelson caribou herd. On June 15th, the federal and Yukon governments released a decision document stating the project would be allowed to proceed to the permitting stage, subject to certain revised terms and conditions, including a caribou oversight committee.
The decision to permit the mine to go ahead was a decision that we were surprised about.
The lawsuit alleges on June 14th, the day before the decision, Ross River Denna Council and Liard First Nation sent a detailed letter to the decision bodies emphasizing their strong opposition to a decision document. It claims in part, the decision bodies failed to reasonably consult and accommodate Kaska before issuing the decision approving the project.
We felt that the decision bodies didn't fulfill their obligations, their constitutional obligations to meaningfully consult the Kaska Nation.
I guess it's a little disappointing. It's more a question.
Alan Nixon is Vice President of External Affairs at BMC, which is listed as a respondent. While BMC isn't the main target of the lawsuit, he says the company is disheartened the Kaska don't feel adequately consulted by the governments after 5 years of environmental assessments and consultation.
After that length of time and all the effort that BMC has put in the communities and with the First Nations, the government-mandated process seems to be the issue now.
Yukon government declined to comment as the matter is before the courts. Loblaw says the Kaska want to see the mine go through the assessment process again so they can have full say.
That's exactly what we're hoping to see. Maybe some better protection, some better and a more First Nation-led process to set out and guide a project of this type.
Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
Now, the federal government says they are reviewing the material filed by Ross River. An invasive beetle is eating away the black ash population in Quebec. The tree is vital for Abenaki, Mi'kmaq, and Mohawk peoples for their traditional and cultural practices. But basket weavers and chiefs alike don't want the government to list the black ash as an endangered species. Amelia Fournier tells us why.
Here in Odenak, Abenaki have been pounding black ash to make baskets for generations. Black ash has a unique growth pattern, which makes it perfect for cutting into strips for baskets, explains ash pounder Luc Gauthier-Nolette.
C'est un travail que j'ai appris avec quelques aînés de la communauté, du temps qui est encore en vie. Il y en a quelques-uns qui sont décédés. Puis des plus jeunes qui ont été formés plus tard, mais les autres, moi, je n'étais pas dans le décor à ce moment-là. Je suis arrivé plus tard, puis j'ai décidé de prendre la relève.
The Committee on the Status of Endangered Wildlife in Canada recommended black ash be listed as an endangered species in 2018. But that would mean basket weavers and ash pounders would be fined for making and selling black ash products.
They're not right to do this because this is something that it's been going on for years and years. You know, my great-grandparents did that.
Baskets are used to transport game, are given at weddings, and provide revenue to small artisans, like Annette.
It's so important for my work because if you don't have that, that's the only kind of material that we could do the basket with, and the sweetgrass. That's the only. So it's very, very important to me. I don't want it to stop, even I'm old.
Consultations with First Nations have been underway since 2020, and Abenaki, Mi'kmaq, and Mohawk chiefs sent a letter to Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Mark Miller and Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault 2 weeks ago, opposing black ash being listed as an endangered species. The Grand Council of the Abenaki Nation submitted a report to the government back in June outlining their research and concerns, and they're still waiting for a response.
We have made it very, very clear to the government that regardless of what happens, regardless whether or not they decide to pass this without making an agreement with us or without allowing us to continue our traditions and our way of life, we will continue no matter what.
Cole DeLille, a Ganawage Environmental Protection Officer, explains that the emerald ash borer beetle not harvesting is causing declining tree numbers.
So the emerald ash borer, when it finds a tree, the mature beetle will actually lay its eggs in the tree, and so those will hatch, and it's the larvae that cause all the damage.
But conservation efforts are underway, like collecting ash seeds and treating larger trees.
Sure, we selected trees that have like a straight trunk and were over a certain size. So if one day we needed to make baskets, we could harvest from these trees.
Ultimately, Abenaki won't let the government get in the way of their practices, says Chief Obamsawin.
So the ash tree is very important to us. It's our family, it's our blood, it's our way of life. We will not give that up for anyone.
Neither Minister Miller nor Minister Guilbeault responded by deadline. Emilia Fournier, APTN National News, Odanak, Quebec.
Time for one final break. Still to come, there's a growing market for foragers in the Northwest Territories looking to turn a profit. Welcome back. It's time now for our photo of the day. This is from the Tilly Mississippi Family Center in Temagami First Nation, Ontario. Jennifer Sinclair, the cook at the center, prepared an all-traditional, locally sourced meal for the children: wild rice, moose meat pie, and local greens with local syrup. Man, oh man, is that making me hungry. Send your photos to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. We start on the east coast at 29 in mix of sun and cloud in Charlottetown and 30 in showers in Halifax. 23 in rain in Cartwright and 24 in rain in Happy Valley Goose Bay. 29 in sun in Quebec City and 29 in Val-d'Or. 31 degrees in Toronto and 29 in North Bay. 28 and some showers in Timmins and 22 in showers in Big Trout Lake. 17 in Churchill and 20 in Puckatawagan. 17 in a mix of sun and cloud in Barons River and 19 in Winnipeg. 18 degrees in Estevan and 22 in North Battleford. 20 degrees in Meadow Lake and 21 in showers in Stony Rapids. Moving west to showers in 23 in Fort Chippewa and 23 in showers in Peace River. 24 in Edmonton and 23 in Calgary. 27 degrees in Campbell River and 27 in Bella Coola. 20 degrees in Sandspit and 26 in showers in Fort Nelson. 15 degrees in Beaver Creek and 18 in showers in Old Crow. Rain in 20 in Norman Wells and 17 in Yellowknife. Showers in 27 in Fort McPherson and showers in 24 in Inuvik. 16 degrees in Chesterfield and 18 in Baker Lake. 9 degrees in Arctic Bay and 12 degrees in Iqaluit. In Denonville, Northwest Territories, generations have been turning to the land for wild foods and medicines. And as our reporter Charlotte Moore-Jacobs explains, there's a growing market for foragers looking to turn their pickings into profit. Here's that story.
Summer bloom is well underway in Klitschko territory. And for these aspiring harvesters, so too is learning how to pick and process valuable medicines. Today, it's all about collecting raspberry leaves.
I've been drinking a lot of traditional medicine.
The monthly training is funded by the Klitschko government and facilitated by Laughing Lichen, an NWT manufacturing, foraging, and training business of wild foods and herbs.
If you guys enjoy this harvest, I am looking for people every summer that want to be out on the land harvesting for employment.
Valerie McKenzie of Edzo and Nico Richardson of Betchacon have been interning with Laughing Lichen for the last 2 summers.
I definitely got faster. It's a really good opportunity. It'd be nice to see more people be interested.
I've been there for the last month, and all of this month I'll be working with them for all of the workshops and everything. And it's always fun to meet new people. This one here is year 1, but it's all eaten up. You can tell because it has no berries. This is year 2, it's got berries and it's all prickly.
Harvesters are careful to go for the first-year plants, when the stalks and leaves are smooth, before they produce berries.
Yeah, we only grab 25% of a plant.
Why is that?
That way it can still thrive, and we don't want to overpick.
Richardson and McKenzie say they enjoy sharing what they learn and what they harvest.
My grandpa, he's a harvester too. He picks mainly spruce gum, and he makes medicine with that, and he gives it to the elders.
It's peaceful and therapeutic. Now that I can see that there's like lots of uses for the plants.
My method?
Yeah.
Pick fast.
Amy Mund, founder of Laughing Lichen, says some past participants have gone on to sell their own wild crafted goods.
50. So far you're at $89.42. And this is more of an economic stream, so we're trying to see if anyone is interested in becoming a forager, not only for Laughing Lichen, but maybe to start their own business and start harvesting around their community and making their own products.
Holy, 2 kilos.
Thanks to interest in foraging, Laughing Lichen and the Klitschko government are working on creating a wild medicine field guide in Klitschko Yati.
The next foraging workshop will take place at Mosquito Creek for Labrador tea on August 9th. Charlotte Moore-Jacobs, APTN National News, Steg River, Klitschko Territory.
All right, that's all we have for you tonight on APTN National News. For more Indigenous news, head to our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Daryl Stranger. For all of us here, thank you for joining us. Miigwech, and have a great night.